Hello, everyone. Hope you had a good weekend. This is Hugh, and I will be your Goblin team leader going into the piloting of Dragonstorm. This is my favorite decks to play, and it's gonna be a little series where I'm gonna go over some of the decks my friends have developed along with myself in our own little metagame as we play on what is kind of like the Wild West for online competitive Commander. The main thing I'm going to be going over today is kind of keeps. If you've never played Storm before, hands that are keepable or not, can be a little wonky, look a little weird. Sometimes you're going to put back hands that are functional but don't really have a plan. That's the main thing I'm going to be going over today, and we're all have fun while we're doing it. See how many times we can combo off. So crack them if you got them, and let's see how many times we can Dragonstorm. Okay, here we go. Round number one, and we have a pretty good hand. So as I look at this hand and I look at the three players, one, we get to go first, so speed is on our side. We have Underworld Breach Lion's Eye. We are one card off of comboing with Underworld Breach. It is a turn three, which, is medium in speed, but I'll take it for sure. There is the potential, as I look at these three commanders, the Obzat, he may have just found his way into a competitive game. This is what I was talking about with some of the Wild Westness of online competitive Commander. Sometimes people just want to come out and see where their deck's at. So they're certainly welcome, but I would be surprised. I'm curious to see what they bring and see where they're at. Narset can be terrifying, especially if they try to go turn one here. We do not have a way of stopping Narset at this time, and so if they go turn one Narset, we might be even a little too slow for that. But we're hoping that our dockside is going to be a big payoff for the Narset and Arcanist players. Looks like we got uh, an alternate Arcanist, which means, hey, maybe he's the guy to watch out for. We got a tap land turn one. Confidence is falling to see if he's gonna be that big of a threat this game. Maybe, maybe not. Hard to tell. Just the commander in itself can be incredibly powerful, though. Our plan really isn't going to change much. We're just going turn two, Knight's Whisper. Hopefully, turn three win. We got a Snowland for land number one. I think Dapper Dan, he's got the target on his head first. We're not going to fetch at this time. There's the potential that we could draw Brainstorm or something like that, so we're going to hold off. I usually lead on the fetch land or something of that like that can tap for any color in the event that we have a turn one wheel by someone. Ooh, Preordain. Preordain's nice, but we're still going to just draw two cards here. While Preordain can potentially look at more cards, just way more mana efficient for Knight's Whisper. On turn three, because we actually don't need the extra mana, we're going to use Preordain to look for some sort of protection, to maybe fight Dapper Dan's counter magic if he has it. It's certainly a possibility. However, if he doesn't leave mana open, I think we will jam it anyway. It's really going to matter on what his posture is, if we can tell if he's F6'd or not, that sort of thing. We're just going to draw our cards here, see what we get, set ourselves up for turn three, Preordain into Underworld Breach, Lion's Eye, and hopefully win the game. If we find a tutor here, we need to find Brain Freeze somehow, so if we can find a tutor or entomb or an entomb effect, all of those are capable of getting Brain Freeze into the yard and will allow us to combo off. If we need to, we can still dig with Preordain for that combo piece, but what we really want to find with Preordain is protection. little Dapper Dan, I think, forgot he had priority. And, oh, perfect. Brain freeze. There it is. So we have the full combo here. We could, or I could play Lion's Eye to not discard anything. However, I am going to hold the Lion's Eye. One, to protect it and conceal that we have Lion's Eye. And also, we're going to discard the dragon. The most efficient way to get that guy into play, along with all the other dragons, is just going to be to reanimate them. If for whatever reason we are stopped, then we will shift to playing a more value game along with reanimation. And one of the nice things about Brain Freeze in this deck as well, it actually dovetails really nicely with the dragons and allows us to mill ourselves and then reanimate any creatures that we hit. We'll be looking for Jinkataxis, however, the Dragon Lord Kolagon giving the Dragon's Haste is a great one to put into play, especially if Dapper Dan has a lot of counter magic. Having that pressure, having that those creatures in play actively attacking is going to allow us to force Dapper Dan to interact on multiple axes and not just on the stack, but also interact with the battlefield. Maybe tax his mana a little too much and allow us to sneak a win through. Looks like Narset is just playing those bounce lands. Not really too worried about Narset at this point. Mostly just looking to Dapper Dan to see if he's going to be able to stop us. Will he leave mana up? Will he tap out? Looks like Geist Blast is just some weird 2 damage spell. Not worried about it. Got mana open. Oh, he's tapping out. Getting that F6 value. Okay. So, if, we did draw protection. So we have a choice here. We could try to find a land. Mostly what I want to look for is a free counterspell, hey, like Force of Will, or the blue if you have your commander card, Fierce Guardianship. We did find the protection spell though, so and we found Simeon. We'll definitely keep Simeon. Put the Leviathan on the bottom. The Is it Charm? Gosh. I think we just go for it, honestly. I think it's just better to go for it. So I think I might exile the Simeon to also go for it as well. That way we can use the blue mana off of our land, and then LED can get, or we can use the LED for blue mana, and then we can use the Mana Confluence for black mana. He did tap out. It's possible the game is over right here, turn 3, maybe. Maybe. It is holding priority, and he did F6, which means he does have something, as the priority is stuck on him. Might have to figure something else out here. Way on Magic Online works, you can F6 if you don't have a play, but if you do have Force of Will, or there it is. If you do have Force of Will or something like that, the priority will stick once you have the ability to cast your counter magic. There's the Force of Will. It's countered. We're doing alright though, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna look for reanimation, and then if we can find reanimation, we will then brain freeze ourselves anyway, and then reanimate. Ideally, Jinkataxis. He's in the deck, along with the Sphinx, to just refill us, and to also apply pressure on the opponents, at least with Jinkataxis. He's really good at allowing us to then combo off the following turn if no one can answer him, as well as just refilling our hands. Looks like they just exiled a Wipe Away over there, which could disrupt our combo in the event that we did Dragonstorm. Bounce spells can always mess up all of the different triggers and everything like that, so it's important to note that he does play bounce spells. Right now, since our plan was stopped, I think we're going to hold up Opposition Agent and Is It Charm. If nobody tutors, then we'll Is It Charm and draw 2, discard 2, looking for that reanimation magic. If someone does tutor, we're just going to tutor for their reanimation magic and then go ahead and play our Extortionist, LED, and Rugrack and Brain Freeze ourselves and look for some reanimation targets. Looks like Dapper Dan's just passing turn. He will be, I think, our nemesis for this game, stopping us at every turn, which means he needs to go first. Do we draw land here? No. Although Culling the Weak's not bad. Culling the Weak means that if maybe a few more artifacts and enchantments get put into play, we'll be able to hardcast Dragonstorm. It also means, since we do have Lion's Eye, and we want to risk it all, we can Dockside, Lion's Eye, Culling the Weak, Tutor, if we draw a Tutor, and then with the Tutor on the stack, go get Dragonstorm, and sack LED for the mana to cast it. And we have a Tutor. Okay, time to see what this black-white player is working with. So we're looking for reanimation, ideally maybe a really powerful hate piece, but that would be less proactive. We're really trying to, it's on us to win this game, I think. I don't think anyone's going to try to win it before us. Even though we've already been stopped once, I think we're going to be the next to kind of pull the trigger. So, let's see what this guy's got. The fact that he's playing Diabolic Tutor doesn't kind of give me confidence that there's a whole lot over there, but who knows? Maybe he's playing Reanimate, or even just a Demonic Tutor itself would allow us to potentially go and get Dragonstorm and combo off anyway. So what does he got? Okay. Ooh, here it is. If he has Demonic Tutor, it's in hand. Which I feel like he'd probably have played that. There's nothing really worth vindicating. It's the next thing that I really pops out to me. Defense Grid could be something if we want to get the Blue Mage off of our back. However, what I really want to do right now is draw cards, especially since it doesn't look like he has reanimation available. I don't see reanimate. I don't see animate dead. I don't see Dance of the Dead. He does have Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Blood combo. That's something to note. We could take a Soul Ring here, but mana's not really our issue. We have, in fact, a handful of mana between Culling the Weak and Lion's Eye Diamond and Extortionist. I think I'm just going to get card draw. He has Moonlit Bargain. And he has Sign in Blood. Kid. Ooh. It might be Sign in Blood. He has Increasing Ambition. That is 5 mana. And that's a lot. And I wouldn't want to use Culling the Weak to cast it. So I think I'm just going to draw cards. Not really too worried about this guy. I mean, Cabal, if he does get Cabal out and starts taxing our life total, that would be a problem. So he has certainly some problematic permanents. None of them are currently in play. So, not too worried. I'm just going to draw 2 cards on my turn. Looks like he's just hanging out. No worries, no worries. Narset, if they do get her down, hopefully Dapper Dan will stop her and then allow us to go off. Let's see, what does she have here? Tybalt. That's interesting. Not sure how much I care at all about that. Deck doesn't really gain life, so just kind of uses it and then we die. That's the typical play pattern. Does look like Narsit's about one turn off, which is important. Oh, no, because the bounce land. 2 turns off. We got 2 turns before Narset comes down, which means we have 2 turns to win. Hopefully Dapper Dan here taps out a little bit, does something. He's Mystic Sanctuary, Force of Will. Okay. So, if we are going to do something, we probably need to do it soon. That does tell me he most likely doesn't have other counter magic. If he's desperate to draw a 2-for-1 against himself, that tells me he doesn't actually have any other counter magic, so unless otherwise proven, I know he has a whole bunch of mana open. It seems weird. Ah, perfect. Perfect, perfect. So we are going to begin with Rograk, and we are going to get our Storm on anyway, even though he stopped us last time. We're going to go ahead and get all our LED. We're not going to crack our LED. We're just adding Storm count at this point. And I think we're going to Culling the Weak into Sign in Blood next. And we'll use Badlands. Leave open that blue mana for Brain Freeze. We'll put Rograk back. Rograk, the only time you ever put Rograk into the yard is if you're Underworld breaching. Breach is in the yard, which means that you're going to have to Echo or do some other shuffle effect like Time Twister to get Breach back. At that point, Rograk would get exiled anyway, and so we're just not really worried about that. Okay, we got Seething Song. Once again, I think we're just going to act like he doesn't have counter magic. I feel like he would have not put Force of Will on top if he did have counter magic. He might have something, certainly, but it just doesn't feel like he has counter magic. He might have a bounce spell. That's certainly possible. We don't necessarily have to Seething Song here. We could. I think we will. Alright, so we'll Seething Song. We don't necessarily have to, but I think we're just going to go for it. Dockside going to give us the other mana that we need for our black mana. And hopefully we hit a few dragons. One thing is, with having Dragon Lord Kolaghan in the yard already, whatever we reanimate, we can give it haste. Here we go. We're also going to mill Dapper Dan and get the Force of Will off of our back. That way he doesn't draw it. Let's see what we mill here. Assign the targets to us. The original is targeting Dapper Dan and that Force of Will. One thing that would be really nice is, when we hit it, Echo. Echo, we have the LED. Once we reanimate everything and sort of expend our hand, the next thing we'll do is Echo, and then we'll be ready with a fresh 7 for the following turn. As well as we'll put the Underworld Breach back in our deck. Bladewing the Reason will allow us to reanimate 2 dragons for the price of 1. So if we milled a damage dealing dragon, right now what we can do is we can reanimate Bladewing, reanimate damage dealing dragon, reanimate Dragon Lord Kolagon, give them all haste, and then start applying that pressure. Looks like we got Scourge and Terror. Nice. So the decision here is, do we want to get Scourge or Terror? And I think that we will get Scourge. And the reason why we're going to get Scourge is because I want it in play in the event that we are able to put, we're able to Dragonstorm again. And having the Terror is only going to trigger once off the Kolagon, and I want the Scourge to trigger both off the Dragon Lord and off of the Scourge itself. It'll be the same amount of damage, it's going to be 3 or 5, but I just want the Scourge to have the capacity for greater damage in the future already on the table. Whenever you're comboing, you always want Scourge out, typically as soon as you can. I'm not sure if I actually care about this Tybalt. I think we might just send all the damage there over there at Dapper Dan. If we wanted to spin the wheel and reanimate the Ogre, something that, if you were considering that and have a lot of red mana accessible to you, it is important to note we wouldn't have enough red mana to cast Dragonstorm. We would need some extra help. And so I'm not going to opt for that. I'm just going to apply pressure on the battlefield to Dapper Dan. A lot of times what you'll see in Legacy is you'll see Storm decks play Empty the Warrens for this exact reason, so that you put a board presence in play, and that way the control deck or whatever deck you're playing has to both stop you from winning on the stack as well as whatever board presence you have with a whole bunch of goblins. Here in Commander, we're just using dragons instead of goblins, but the concept's the same. I am going to pop the Echo before I attack, just in the event. Yeah, just in the event that we want to, where you have the capacity to keep going. I'm going to leave blue mana just because I think if I draw like a Ponder or a Preordain, I think that is something that is more likely for me to want to do. Okay, what do we got here? We got Entomb. We got a whole bunch of mana. Mox Amber, Mana Vault. We actually can Entomb. We don't really have a reason to Entomb yet, so I think we're just gonna Ponder and go from there. Yeah. If I actually had a reason, a reanimation spell, I could Entomb another dragon and keep going, but no reason. Okay, alright, so there's a payoff for Entomb. We can now put Dragonstorm in the yard with Entomb, and we can then go ahead and we'll go ahead and draw Mizzix Mastery. This was something I think was in Historic for a little bit, putting Dragonstorm into the yard and casting with Mizzix Mastery. Here we're just going to just do it next turn, apply that pressure. Maybe he deals with our board, maybe he doesn't. We have an extra damage dealer in the deck. This will be, I think, a 2-turn clock. One of the sneaky abilities of Rorik's Blade Wing is that he can pump dragons. He is a lord along with Latlas. So, in the event it's not quite 2 turns, I think we'll be able to make it a 2-turn clock. And then I think once Dapper Dan is out of the game, we'll be cleared hot to finish out our combo. And I'm just gonna hold all of my mana. I think there's a temptation to play it, but since we are a storm deck and we want to play our spells in the same turn, we're just gonna hold on. We have no counter magic. I mean, we have Entomb, but we have the capacity. Excuse me. We have the capacity to play it in the same turn, and so we just want to add to our own storm count. What would be unfortunate is if the other 2 players wrath our board and help out the blue player. We're just going to hope they don't. Just hope they keep playing enchantments or whatever they're doing. And just ignore them. Like I said, this is the Wild West. Who knows? I mean, it is important that it is infinite combo. So since he did play it, the second person we'll kill is him. Just because once those 2 are in play, you just instantly die. I think it's Exquisite Blood that it combos with, and you just get drained out as soon as you lose any life. See if Narset comes into play. Hopefully not. Narset does come into play. That's a problem. But luckily there's a land tap. Perfect. As well as no artifact mana. There are the 2 devils. We are at 18. I don't think our life total's a liability quite yet. It could become a liability in the future, but I think at least for now, we're good. Guardian Idol, don't care. Okay, what do you got for us, Dapper Dan? Mr. Dapper Dan. Mr. Dan. I do think that this is going to be a large determining factor on what we do on our turn. If we go for it, or like what we might do is just attack and wait until he's dead, maybe play Narset, look for protection. It is a concern that the enchantment player does have 1/2 of a combo in play, so we can't take too long. He may have had a tutor and then just realized opposition agents in play. What do you got for us, Mono Blue? What do you got? I think it is perfectly reasonable if Mono Blue has the tools to go infinite in a number of different ways. If he wins right here and goes infinite, more power to him. I don't have the capacity to stop him. All I'm doing is applying the pressure on him to force him to do whatever he's going to do. While this deck does play some counter magic, the counter magic's usually to defend itself on its own combo turn. That's why it mostly plays a lot of the free counter magic. If you look at the deck list at the beginning of the video, it doesn't play a whole lot of actual counter magic that is cost mana to play. Is It Charms kind of like an exception to that, along with Mana Drain. They're just so powerful. Is It Charms, my vote for the best charm. Not even close. Killing small creatures, countering spells, and drawing cards. What else could you want? Looks like Arcanus is going to come out. I think we have the damage to kill him without removing it. It is important to note we have Pyrokinesis on the top of our library. If we really want to do that, I don't want to though, just because I want to use my Mizzix Mastery to cast Dragonstorm. If for whatever reason he blows us out, though, and we are not able to execute any sort of plan, maybe playing Narset and getting that Pyrokinesis and killing the Arcanist will be a fallback. Okay. We could also then Brain Freeze and then Mizzix Mastery the Pyrokinesis. Another thing to note. Okay. There is a consideration here as well that if we attack first, we might not be able to kill everybody. I haven't quite done the math, but we might just be able to kill 2 players and leave 1 player alive. That might be okay. Might not. It's hard to know. I think, yeah, it looks like we have the capacity. If we pump our dragons, it'll be Exacxes. Yeah, we have 6, 16, 17 if he blocks the opposition agent. We're going to go for it. I think he has something, so we're just going to force him to make the first move. It's important to note as well, if he blocks the goblin, it'll be 1 short, so we're going to have to pump no matter which creature he blocks. Blocking the goblin. Currently, he'll be at 1. So we're going to pump all of the dragons. Oh, my bad. Red. Then black. And die. In theory. I bet he has something. He's got to have something. He tried doing something at end step. Yeah, he's got something. What do you got? Boomerang. Boomeranging the Kolagon. Okay, so Kolagon's back in hand. So we'll just bring him low, and then we have the option, it's important to note, that we could just ritual out the Dragon Lord and kill him that way. So I think he will take 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, nope, that would be short as well. All right, well, we're going for it. He's got more free counter magic. He has more free counter magic, but we're going for it. Let the Dragonstorm begin. Hopefully. We've already played Rograk this game, important to note, so we're probably not going to play him again. I think I'd rather have open mana. We're going to have enough spells played this so far anyway that we're not going to have enough dragons to get. We should have like a storm of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Storm of 6, maybe 7. Don't think anyone's gonna have it, so it's really on you, Dan. Oh, Dan. Danny boy. Do you have the answer again? Danny boy. Can you stop the Dragonstorm? It's coming for you. All right. As they say in Texas, all right, all right, all right. There it is. So this isn't going to kill all three players. We're going to kill Dan, and then we're going to kill the white-black player just because he has one half of an infinite combo in play. And we're just going to pray that the other guy can't kill us, and then we'll just kill him next turn. Whenever you're Dragonstorming, ladies first. So we'll go get the queen. She'll come into play. We'll go ahead and it's not quite enough. We'll have the next dragon that enters off of the Terror of the Peaks take out Dapper Dan. It is unfortunate that we can't get Dragon Lord Kolagon, but we already attacked anyway, so there is some amount of meh. Oh, and he's out. Okay, 4 less damage that we have to do. Still don't think it'll be enough, though. We'll find out. It's too much math doing off the top of the head. We'll definitely kill Scout last, though. That's for sure. I've yielded a little bit, but I'm gonna, once Scout list starts getting close, I'll turn off my auto yields. That way I don't waste too much damage. We can just get Spectrum as low as possible. If Spectrum does board wipe us, our route to victory might be just casting Dragon Lord Kolagon and beating face for a couple of turns. We're just going to kill Scout list as soon as possible, and then shift fire over to Spectrum. Yeah, one thing, it never gets old. Dragonstorming, such an epic win, gotta say. Love it. Turn 6, it's a little slow. It's a little slow. Turn 7 is going to be the turn we win. It's pretty slow. We did have some interaction, so there's that to consider. I think we got 2 more Scourge triggers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 3 is 24-ish. So we just got 3 more Scourge triggers to Scout last. And I think we're shifting fires of the Terror over to Spectrum. We are getting low. Something to consider. In fact, I think if we actually attack all out next turn, we would die if that enchantment was still in play. Okay. So 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1 more Scourge trigger is going to do it. It's going to be the first Scourge trigger that we put on the stack. Our last dragon. This is also a good note. This is why I have more than just the combo dragons into the deck. You do need sometimes a couple more to be able to get the damage output that you need. I've tried a lot of different dragons. Sometimes my friends who've built the deck in paper will recommend different dragons to me. And I will say that there's a lot of good dragons out there. There's not a lot of great dragons out there. And these dragons really need to have a solid purpose. For example, Glorybringer, the reason why he's in the deck is, say you're fighting versus a Death and Taxes deck, you want Glorybringer to be able to be cast fairly at 5 mana, as well as to be able to just start taking out those annoying Death and Taxes creatures like Archon. His Exert ability is capable of taking out most small, annoying creatures that are going to prevent you from comboing off. So he mates the deck on that. Uh, one dragon that I know a lot of people are playing in Standard right now is Goldspan Dragon, and it's a good dragon, certainly, but at 5 mana, I either want to be winning the game or something has horribly gone wrong, and I probably need a dragon that is going to either draw me cards or remove something. So I'm not really a fan of the Goldspan Dragon. There's probably ways you can abuse the Goldspan Dragon by targeting it and doing a whole bunch of shenanigans that way. I just don't really bother with it. Most of the time, the dragons are just dead cards, and they're big baddies that get reanimated, or ooh, or they just get put into play, or cast fairly to fight Death and Taxes pieces. To me, the Goldspan Dragon doesn't do any of those things. Um, he just he would help make mana, it's true, but I'd probably have to ritual him out to get him out since the deck's trying to win by turn 3. Oh, well, I just messed up blocking. But hopefully he can't kill us. But if you're going to be playing a dragon, it really needs to earn its slot. And the newest addition is Bladewing, the zombie dragon that reanimates dragon. That guy has done a really good job of, say, you discard a dragon early on, he just gets that key dragon out of the yard. Whew, we might be dead here, folks. 3. Oh. Oh. 2. I'm not paying, so 2. Think. Perfect. Mana Crypt, just in time to kill me next turn. If for whatever reason this doesn't work. Okay. Time to send in the clowns. Well, bam. There it is. Good game, Dapper Dan. Welcome to game number 2. For this game, I reached out and my cousin is joining me. So, football up there with Tatyova is my cousin Sean that I built a lot of the decks with. A lot of times these online games, just because I know he's playing a more competitive list, and evolve into 1v1. Hopefully, it won't be too bad. Sometimes what happens with that is we 1v1 so much that um, somebody else just wins, but we'll see what happens. So we have a lot of card draw in this hand. We have Dance the Dead. We could try to find an Entomb effect, but I'm just going to mulligan this. The fastest way to draw cards with this deck is to just mulligan. And really the plan of the deck is to Dragonstorm. That's what we're here to do. Reanimation is if things fail. I like this hand a lot better. We have our choice of card selection spell and Faithless Looting or Ponder. We'll take Ponder. Dak Faden's job is to steal Mana Crypts, and if he lives past that, then he will draw some cards. Unmarked Grave is really good. Usually we're entombing and unmarked graving spells. I did add the Sphinx just because one of the main reanimation targets is Taxis. However, unmarked grave can't go and find it. But since we already have the Dragonstorm, do we want to actually even keep it? I don't think so. Usually unmarked grave is going to put Dragonstorm or say like Echo of Eons in the graveyard. I think we're just going to get rid of it. All right. And we do go fourth, which is something to note. We don't really have a lot of interaction. However, we do have the Dragonstorm. We just need to find a way to cast it. There are two blue players, so anytime you're playing this deck, if you build this deck or something similar, the ritual of choice when playing versus other decks that are heavy in counter magic is the ogre. And he requires a certain life total. It's pay 3 life, add red mana. So 27 life is how much life you need to cast Dragonstorm, which is an important number to keep track of. Once we get past 27, then we are no longer able to use the ogre. But since so much of the free counter magic is counter target non-creature spell, and so much of the cheap counter magic is non-creature spell, Dragonstorm protects itself by being a storm card. Most people will also wait to counter your payoff. My cousin is not going to wait for the payoff. He's played against this deck many times, and he knows what it's about. And it looks like he has quite the hand over there. A whole bunch of stuff going on over there. We're looking at probably a turn 2 Tatyova. Ooh. Plus we have Kirk. Kirk can sometimes win incredibly quickly. Sometimes turn 1 or turn 2 Kirk can go off. Good news is that since we are fourth in the turn order and we're after Kirk, that means that hopefully they use their counter magic to stop him, and then we get to win. That's the goal here, at least. Like I said with the ogre, like we want to use the ogre. However, the ninja, uh, Unico, is really good at dealing damage. So we shall see if the ogre remains as a actual threat. That's nice. So we just drew a protection piece. So we're gonna throw Rograk out there. It telegraphs a little bit that we have protection, but that's okay. What we need is this Ponder to resolve. If it gets mental misstepped, we are up a creek without a paddle, and so we are going to defend this Ponder with Rograk's life. Ooh, and it looks like we got a Ristic Study. That's perfect. We want to draw cards right now. We'll stack it with Notion Thief first. We're gonna fetch him away. We'll draw the Ristic Study, and then we will. We'll guess we'll draw the Mana Vault just in case we say like we want to actually ritual out Dragonstorm and something weird happens. It's not really gonna matter. We're gonna draw both of them. We don't have Force of Will, so I'll just see what Sean is up to over there. The deflecting spot's also going to be able to protect Ristic Study and hopefully get it out there, which we already have our payoff. We just need a way to cast it. The Tatyova deck, it wins by taking infinite turns, looping, Time Warp, and other Time Warp-like effects with Mystic Sanctuary, and manipulating lands to draw a whole bunch of cards and loop instants and sorceries on top of the library, draw them, and recast them. And he has a huge mana advantage on us. Luckily, some of our rituals, like we're not too far off. We have the Mana Vault. We are going to spend the Mana Vault to cast Ristic Study, so we're going to have to find something else. But really what we're looking for is that Ogre. We can find the Ogre. That will be game. So is he going to cast it? He already played his land. So I am thinking he won't cast his commander, or he has exploration. Ooh, so exploration might mean that he plays his commander and then fetches. We shall see. What do you got over there, Sean? Yep. Okay, so I expect him to play Tatyova now. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Okay. He's holding. Not sure why he's holding, but he is holding. Evan Stronghold, important to note, it can sack itself. So he actually could have played Kirk here just off Evan Stronghold. This is interesting that he's playing Dark Ritual. Evan Stronghold's one of those lands that taps to sack itself and add black black. It's like football is maybe he has something on top. Maybe he's just being cheeky over there. Who knows? He should know what his top card is. So, what do you got over there? Nothing. Okay. Very well. Very well. We just wanted to swap it out for whatever reason and then fetch afterwards. It looks like he's going to be going for another land expedition map. What will he get? Urborg. Okay. I'll take an Urborg. Helps with my Horizon land. Now try lands. And pass. Okay. Very well. Very well. Now we'll have the ninja come down. We'll cast Rhystic Study. Defend it with deflecting SWAT. And then hopefully people don't pay. Sometimes that just is the way it is. I'm in a four-person game. There's usually at least one person who doesn't pay, so ideally I expect to get 2, 3 cards off of it. If the mono black player does try to combo off, or if my cousin tries to combo off, then I will expect that we draw more than just 2 or 3. But my expectation by my next turn is to just draw 2 or 3 cards. Yep, here she comes. Commander Ninjutsu doesn't pay the commander tax. Well, it is kind of annoying sometimes. At the same time, it's not that powerful of an ability at the same time. So I don't know. I know some people feel passionate about that, but if you can win through damage, man, more power to you. That's got to be the hardest way to win, is through just raw dog and damage. We'll draw our Rhystic Study, cast it, and cross our fingers. We do have the Urborg in play. It is important to note that we didn't have to fetch, but in my experience online, Kirk players are like really brightly lit flames. They enter the game, they do their thing. If you stop them, they leave because they aren't able to recover. Because the way that a lot of the more powerful black cards work, he's paying half of his life total. All right, and here he goes. Who knows what he's about to do, but he's about to do something. So we we might just lose here on only getting 2 turns. But if he is able to be stopped, say if deflecting SWAT can do something, then I fully expect the Kirk player to respectfully bow out. It just seems to be the play pattern. Do their thing, get stopped. Next game. I think also Tatyova will come down. I'm not sure why she didn't. Maybe he just wanted to get that card back. Nope, he drew that card too. So what we got here. Perhaps in the future I'll be able to have Sean talk over these games with me. Right now I've been traveling. It's one of the reasons why I haven't uploaded any videos lately. And I'm currently using hotel internet, and it's just in and out, not reliable, not capable of handling a whole lot, and so it's just me for now. In the future, I do want to have him on here as well, and he'll be able to give both his perspective on what he's doing, as well as his perspective on the different decks that I'll be playing. A lot of the decks him and I built together and then tuned as well. So, a good example is the Winota deck is mostly his version. I kind of just taken it from him, and then uh, likewise with the Storm deck, he has a Storm deck of his own that is 99% of what I did with some of his own personal tweaks. We got Tatyova, we got card draw. See how far he goes. Hopefully he draws us a card. Fingers crossed. And hopefully we find a way to get the Ogre in play. Drew an extra card. Drew a land. Exactly what he wanted to do. I'm not too worried about him having counter magic at this time. I think the main counter magic that he would have would be the Fierce Guardianship that I'm worried about, just because he has such low cards in hand. We shall see. I think the most interesting turn is going to be Kirk's turn, just to see if we all lose immediately. There's a lot of really powerful mono black cards that he can cast. One of them like draws a whole bunch of cards just with mono black mana alone. Oh, not bad. Sorry about that. Drifted off the screen a little bit there. And we'll see if we actually live through his turn. If we do live through his turn, we're gonna have to fight. We're gonna have to fight through Sean. I expect fully. We do get to draw a card here. Ooh, Remora is nice. We do already have Rhystic Study. Once we have both in play, no one's going to pay for anything, I guarantee you that. But we shall see what he's up to over there. We'll turn 3, blue-green, million mana in play. Gush, perfect. Draw even more cards. He'll be fully reloaded to stop Kirk, and hopefully not us. Next, got another land. Not really what we were looking for. Want Ogre and 1 source. He has a mana up as well. There's a lot of different 1 mana disruption effects. This tells me he has something. Ooh, Lake of the Dead. Okay. 6. Bolas' Citadel. Well, that's what he's doing. I've played a decent amount of Bolas Citadel. I even actually had Bolas Citadel in this deck. It can be hit or miss. Sometimes you hit Sensei's Divine Top or say a tutor that tutors to the top, and you immediately win. Other times, you put it into play, expend a whole bunch of resources, and there's a land on top. And then someone kills it, and it didn't do anything after putting a whole bunch of resources into it. So I stopped playing it. It is a very powerful effect, very powerful card. However, like what Kirk's doing right now, he basically just used everything to put it into play. Fierce Guardianship is happening, and now his whole plan is stopped, and he has 2 cards in hand and Lake of the Dead in play. Pretty rough. And he's out. Alright, so, not too surprising there. We did get a reanimation spell, so if we can find an entomb effect, we can get the ogre into play, which might be the easiest, most mana efficient way. Entomb plus Dance the Dead is 3 mana, and that might be our route to getting it. It's also going to depend on if we have the life total here. The ninja can hit pretty hard sometimes, so if she tutors to the top and hits us, there's a chance that we won't have the 27 life to pay anyway. Plus, we're going to be ticked down off of Mana Vault. Hopefully she doesn't have Mystical Tutor or something of the sort. What do you got? Ninja. Ninja Assassin. Amazing movie, by the way. We did draw Infernal Plunge, so we have the mana to cast it. If we somehow can tutor the ogre, say we draw Vampiric Tutor, we could upkeep Vampiric Tutor, get to 2 lands, and then cast the ogre by sacking Rograk. And we have a 4th Bridge Prowler. Is he going to pay? No. What's this guy do? Ooh, he has may have target creature get -1/-1. That means he's going to kill Rograk. Ooh, another ritual. Which means, alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're getting close to casting Dragonstorm. If they do target Rograk, we are going to Deflecting Swat it just because there's no point in holding it past that. I'm not recasting Rograk this game, most likely, especially with how far ahead my cousin is getting. It does look like it's a May trigger, so this actually isn't going to reduce her power to 0. It's just going to save our Rograk to be sacrificed for Infernal Plunge. With the 2 commanders, Rograk's job is to give his life for the cause. There's a whole bunch of ways we have to sacrifice him in this deck. Silas's job is to also give his life for the cause by blocking, and neither one of them is incredibly key to the plan of the deck. However, they just enable that fast mana start. Yeah, it is a May trigger, so we'll just cross our fingers and hopefully he doesn't remove the possibility of Ogre, and we also draw a way to get the Ogre into play. We do need a decent amount of help here. We need that Entomb effect. We need the Ogre itself. Tutor effect. Oh, my bad. I don't know why that keeps happening. Ooh. It's Mystical Tutoring. Pyrokinesis. Pyrokinesis is a really good draw. He's already connected. However, this may be... Pyrokinesis is going to allow us to see if Sean has something. We're going to try to kill Tatyova. And if he... What did he... he went for Tainted Pact. Okay, so pressure's on. Tainted Pact is in hand. He's most likely going to Thassa's Oracle, Tainted Pact, and we need to win this turn. We'll see if we can do it. There's no point in Pyrokinesising on that turn. We'll just see what we want to draw. We might need to sack Rodrak with Infernal Plunge, and maybe we just draw a different red card. Okay. And we draw Intent. Okay. That is exactly what we needed. So I'm 99% sure we can win this turn. If you figure out faster than me, feel free to put it in the comments below. However, okay, so Infernal Plunge we can't use if we're going to use Diabolic Intent. So that might mean we use that for Pyrokinesis. We're going to Dark Ritual, which gives us 3 mana. 3, 4, 5. -2 is 3. Dance of the Dead is 2, which means we have 1 mana. So that means that 1 mana is Entomb. We're going to Entomb the Ogre, and then we are going to Dance of the Dead the Ogre. Okay. That is our route to victory. And we are going to bait my cousin and see if he has anything by trying to kill Tatyova. I expect him to defend her, because if she lives, there's a chance that he wins on his turn. Everyone's about to win. This is... We are at the point of the game here on turn 3 where I think everyone kind of has the capacity to win. We got Tainted Pact over there. We got a million resources over there with Tatyova. We're just going to exile Infernal Plunge because we're not going to be sacking Rodrak to it. We're going to be using Diabolic Intent. We'll see if Sean wants to fight over this. He does. It is a Spell Pierce. So he's just trying to tax our mana here. We're just gonna let him keep Tatyova, and we're just gonna go for the win, and cross our fingers that that was the only counterspell that he had. No, we're not gonna pay, and now we go for the win. So step 1, Dark Ritual, and we'll Diabolic Intent. Rodrak dies for the cause. I don't know if I want to use the Fiery Islet, or I think it's not necessarily going to matter. So I think we can use that extra black just because we have Underground Sea. So we'll go get Entomb. Which it is in that first column. There it is. We'll go ahead and Entomb that Ogre. This is where another point where the reanimation package kind of just dovetails nicely with the Dragonstorm package, is since we have such a powerful ritual in the dragon, or in the Ogre, and as well as Dockside Extortionist, you can reanimate them with the reanimation magic to then empower your Dragonstorm. Doesn't look like Sean's got anything. So get the Ogre in play. ninjas got something? Don't think they do. I feel like they would have stopped me already from tutoring. Ogre's in play. All right. We are home free. Pay that 27 life. Cast our Dragonstorm. Woo! Turn 3. Not bad. Not bad. Like I said, kind of. It's definitely maybe like a higher end of medium. I think turn 2's really good. Turn 1's amazing. Turn 3's alright. It's a Dragonstorm for Storm 6, so 7 copies. We're going to get all of the dragons. It's going to be more than enough damage. Kill not just these 2 players, but if there was a third player for us to kill, we could have easily killed them as well. As always, whenever you're doing this, ladies first. The queen is the first one that you'll get. She'll double up all your dragons. Get the queen. Then, since we have a high enough storm, we're actually going to get terror first. He's going to deal a higher damage initially once the token comes in off of Latlas. Start setting our yields. He'll be doing 5 damage instead of 3. It's a minor thing. Honestly, it probably doesn't really matter that much. But if sometimes there's a lot slimmer of margins. We're gonna win by a mile here, so it's not that big of a deal here. Next dragon will be the other damage dealer, the Scourge. And then from there, it's not really gonna matter. I typically leave Kolagon as the last, just because that kind of protects him in a way. Maybe you could either have him be last or second to last. Depends on if you think they have a counterspell and maybe they realize they screwed up and they're trying to figure out where they're trying to trip you up. In that event, you can maybe have Kolagon be second to last. Maybe they counter the last version, the last storm of it. Just something to be aware. Maybe like your opponent's body language or their play pattern. Here, I don't think there's anything to worry about. I think we got this in the bag. We're just kind of going through it. And we won't even be able to do combat damage because there'll be too many triggers before everyone dies. In fact, we might not even be able to get both dragons into play, or all the dragons into play. This is also a good note. One of the reasons why I added Bladewing the Risen, a lot of times just 1 or 2 dragons, key dragons, gets discarded early on, and you just swap him in for the order of whenever you would get that dragon. Just, here it is, game. 1-2 punch. And there it is. See you in the next one.